Good evening, everyone. So today this is our second session for elevators pitch, right? So we are working on learning interview skills. So we are going to understand about how the elevators pitch is going to help us get our dream job, basically, right? So one second. Okay. So now the question arises is what basically is an elevator pitch? Okay, so this is something we all have this thing that elevator pitch is only for, if you are into sales or maybe if you're trying to present something, only then elevator pitch is required. But it is nothing like that. It is basically where elevator pitch is a very, very brief and it is persuasive self. Persuasive is you're trying to convince. Okay, it's a self introduction that clearly explains who you are, what you do, and what you bring to the table. Okay, so again, I'm repeating, it is basically a very brief and convincing self introduction that clearly explains who you are, what you do, and what you bring to the table. So, all this you are going to talk about all those things in just 30 seconds, 30 to 60 seconds. Okay, so if you are a, for example, if it's your personal branding tool, so it is basically used at the beginning of a interview of any type of interview that you're doing, like or maybe a networking event or even an informal, chance meeting. So especially for during our interviews and during our networking events, you're trying to meet someone for the first time. So you speak about yourself, you try to introduce yourself, right? And then you have an informal meeting. So where, people want to know who you are. So now when we talk about in the elevator speech, so there are basically going to be couple of elements that are very important that you should include in your elevator speech. Okay. So first is start with who you are. So you talk about your name, your current role, or maybe about your profession, what you're doing currently, and your area of expertise. Okay, so that is where the first part is where you talk about you give out your name, you talk about your current role and your area of expertise. Okay, then second is you mention about what you do or your key strengths, your key skills, very, very important. Highlight your value proposition. Okay, so everyone has some unique selling proposition, right? We all have some USP. So talk about that, how your value proposition or your niche is going to help the organization. Okay, so use quantifiable results. So like, for example, you might have in your previous organization or in your current organization, you have just completed a project. So talk about the result of that project. Okay, in quantifiable terms. Okay, talk about the results or maybe some achievements if possible. So for example, you can say that I specialize in driving ROI focused campaigns. So in my last role in XYZ company, I improved lead conversations, okay, by 40% in under 6 months. So 40% in under 6 months is basically a quantifiable result. Okay, then you talk about say what you're looking for. Okay, so what you're trying to achieve out of this interview process. So here you are going to talk about your experience to the role you are applying. Okay, so for example, you can say, I am now looking to leverage my analytical and creative skills. So here you're talking about your strengths also, your skills also, right? So my analytical and my creative skills in a growth focused role like this one at XYZ corporation or XYZ company. Okay, so now what you're doing, you're talking about the role also, and you know what the role is all about. So the role is going to help you grow as well. Okay, and finally when it is the last part is where you try to end it with a call to action, and of course with a lot of confidence. So here you try to reiterate your value or end with a compelling hook. So you talk about I bring a balance of strategy and execution, always keeping the user at the center of my work. Okay, so you are trying to show them that this is what I will bring for you. Okay, this is what my future in this company looks like. Understood? So these are the 4 parts in this you should include. So you will talk about your introduction, you will introduce yourself, then you will talk about your you will try to work on your strengths, your current strengths, your current company, what you are doing. Then you will talk about, you will give out some quantifiable results with that. Then you will talk about what you are looking for, okay, in the current role or in the current opportunity, and then you will end it with a futuristic picture of about what you are going to do with the role. Okay, so when we talk about the within 60 seconds, again, you are going to greet. So greeting is very, very important. Right. So when I also started this, I said good evening or good morning, good afternoon. It is very important, greeting and with a good handshake. So when you need to remember, when you shake hand of any hiring manager, you have to understand. So there is, many people grasp very tight. It shows you're overconfident. Many people grasp the hand very lightly, very weak. So it shows that you're underconfident, you are not ready for it. But you have to be you have to stand in the medium, okay? Somewhere where you have a very firm, good handshake, and it shows that you're confident enough and you know that you have applied for this and you're looking forward to it. Okay, work on the name. Okay, talk about the organization and show what responsibilities, what were your role about. Then talk about what your organization is doing. So this is basically for a elevator pitch where you are trying to meet someone in the networking event. So previously we discussed about the interview. This is where you're trying to introduce yourself, okay, in a networking event. So there you're going to talk about your organization, your products and services. And then you are going to talk about, I'm sorry, then you are going to talk about why your product, your company, your services, why does it matter? Okay. So all those things you will discuss when you are talking, giving out a introduction. Okay. Trying to introduce yourself in a networking event. Right. Then when we are working on a elevator pitch, few things again, understand. Here is an example. See, hello, I am, give your name, and I am the dash of at this company. So let us fill it. Hello, I am Shivalika and I am the HR manager at XYZ company. Okay. Okay, so we have here Grammarly. Okay, I work at Grammarly. We make an AI communication assistant that helps people communicate better. Okay, so now what you did, first you talked about your name, your company and your title. Then you're talking about the company and what do you do, your company, what does your company do? Grammarly works everywhere you communicate, helping you start and finish communication task more easily and effectively. So now what is your USP? Try to give out this USP. The USP is what you have the best that your competitors don't have it. Okay. Then you work on the call to action, something like, can we meet? Can we discuss this more? Or here is my card and let us connect sometime. And if you can give me your contact details, we should definitely meet. So you are trying to give a call to action where you are trying to meet and discuss about this concept in more detail. Okay. So that is what is an elevator's pitch. Now, when we talk about an elevator pitch, there are different types of elevator pitch. First one is selling yourself. So basically, where you do that, that is especially during your interview. Okay, so whenever you go for different types of interviews, you try to sell yourself. You try to talk about yourself, talk about your strengths, you talk about your skills, and what are you are going to give out to the company. Okay, then you have selling your company. So of course, so when you are trying to connect with people, you have to show what your company is all about. What is the best in your company? What are the strengths and opportunities that are there that your company is bringing to the market? And why your company is there in the market? Talk about that. Okay. Then your services and products. So of course, because you are meeting people to tell them about your company, your products, your services. So it is very important for them to know. Now, suppose, for example, if I manufacture, say, shoes, okay, and my shoes are of amazing quality, amazing design, everything is very, very good in that. But now, if I don't tell people why these shoes are the best for you, of course they will not buy. So I have to tell them that, see, these are the shoes, they have these and these qualities, they are the best in the market, they're priced at this level so that everyone can buy it, right? So I have to give out some USP for my products and services. That is what you do in the elevator's pitch. Okay, so when we talk about the structure of the elevator's pitch, this is the structure. Okay, a hook. It is important. Now see, when we are meeting people or maybe we are going for any interview, during an interview, there are lots of people who these hiring managers they meet, 10 to 20 people every day, they have to interview them. So now we have to create such type of hooks which they instantly get interested in. When you're going for networking events, you meet in one networking event itself, you will meet some 40-50 people, and of course you will not remember everyone, but an interesting hook, a very, very creative hook, will help people to remember you. So something like, hi, I'm Justin and I represent FinTech Solutions. We have a game changing software. So game changing is a power word here, that's tailored for banking system. So now you have made your industry very, very specific. So if it is a game changing software, it can be for any industry. So what you did, you showed that we are specifically targeting banking industry. So banking systems to secure their data and streamline operations. So this is the best part, what your software is providing to they are providing security and to streamline the whole process. Okay. Then what value your product or your service is bringing? Our solution leverages AI driven. So what is the USP? Leverages AI driven algorithms to provide real time fraud detection. So that is the USP. So we are AI driven algorithms helps you work on real time fraud detection and a seamless mobile banking interface. So of course, when we talk about internet, if there are banking websites are there, apps are there, and people and their consumers are using it. So of course, there is always a chance of hacking. Okay, lots of frauds are out there. So my software is going to help you give you all real time fraud detection. So every day, every bank, their websites, they faces lots of frauds, lots of scams, lots of hacks. Okay. Then we partnered with XYZ Bank 10 months ago. So now you're talking about your previous clients also. Okay. Bank XYZ Bank 10 months ago, resulting in a 20. Now you're providing a quantifiable result in a 20% increase in online account openings and 15% reduction in fraudulent transactions since. So you're providing a quantifiable result, sharing that we have helped them increase 20% in customer sales, and we have helped them to reduce the risk by 15%. Okay. And then the differentiator, that means how your product is different, unique, from your other competitors. So, and the best part, we never use the same parameters and configuration twice. We tailor our software to each client's needs. So, of course, that my software is we created specifically, customize it for each bank. Okay, because we know that every bank has different types of operations, different types of processes. So we tailor made it according to your requirement, client's needs, and the result ends up being entirely unique. Okay, then I would love to discuss how our software can be customized to fit your bank's unique needs and goals. So this is your call to action, and then you can definitely exchange your cards, or maybe you can exchange your phone numbers, contact details, and then you can try to connect with the person. Okay. Now, whenever you're working on your elevator speech, it is very, very important that you work on clarity, the crispness of your elevator pitch is very, very important. You just cannot talk, you just cannot go on. I am doing this, I am doing that. My company is this, my company was that. This is what I did in my previous job. This is what I did in my previous role. I was handling these operations. No, you cannot go for so long. Of course, you have lots of projects. You did lots of projects previously, but talk about the best project and talk and show that result, quantifiable result to the person in front of you. Okay, so the clarity, make it very, very crisp, concise, to the point. Okay, of course, you need to have lots of confidence. So it is very important that you prepare your elevator speech in advance and start practicing it. So if you suppose you have an interview tomorrow, so start practicing 2 days before that. Okay, write a good elevator speech. Talk, think about whatever points that we have discussed. Put that and think about, write about that. Okay, of course, because you have 2 days, you have around 48 hours, so you can rework on your elevator speech. Make your elevator speech tailor-made. So now same elevator speech, I cannot use it on everyone. Even if I'm going for interviews or I'm going for networking events, doesn't matter. I have to create my elevator speech according to that company, according to that individual, according to that industry. Okay, so tailor-made it. Then try to, you have to be very, very confident. Your body should show that. Your body language should show that you're very, very confident. Again, you need to sit straight, keep a good smile on your face, right? And try to talk without getting interrupted, without giving out any type of fillers. Okay, so that it shows that you're confident enough, you know what you're talking about. Now, if suppose in my elevator speech, I'm talking about some quantifiable results. Now the HR manager or maybe the person in front of you, they will ask, okay, can you explain me more about this? So you should be ready with that answer. So that is why try to practice, take 2 to 3 days before that and try to work on your elevator speech. Okay, so now this is again another example. SEO is certainly not dead and can be one of the biggest ways to increase traffic to your site, but you have to make sure you're on top of it. My last client's blog traffic took quite a hit after last Google update. At first, they were reacting the same way everyone else was, just kind of freaking out. So what you did? This is the hook you're talking. You just started with a story. Stories are the best, but that you cannot do it during your interviews. Okay, with interviews, you have to be very, very professional in the elevator speech. But after, according to what questions a hiring manager is asking, accordingly, you can, if you think that, okay, I can use some story from my, from my work. Maybe I can talk about my, if they talk about you as a team leader, so you can give a short story, 1 or 2 line story about that. Okay, so, but this is a perfect hook. This you can use for networking, even such type of stories. Once I came on, we identified 5 specific things that could help them with authority and their traffic short backup. So what I did when I joined the team, I worked on 5 specific things on the website and it helped them to go back on the track. That was one of the 6 B2B SaaS clients I handled. So now you're talking about the client. So who was the client? B2B, that is business to business, SaaS client I handled over the last year and whose performance I managed to improve by 40%. Okay, again, a quantifiable result. So how did you fare after the last major update? So you're asking the other person. So you need to be from the same industry, right? So how was your experience with that update, the last update that Google might have done? So what was your experience? What did you achieve? Okay, so now you're starting with a conversation. It is very, very important that you practice your elevator speech whenever you are going for any interview, for any networking event. Okay, it will help you to work on your fluency. You have to be very, very smart in giving out, about introducing yourself, introducing your company, your products, your services. You're trying to sell yourself, your company, or maybe you're trying to sell your products and services. Okay, If you are doing that, if you're practicing your elevator speech, it will tell you where all you need to improve. Maybe there is some changes in the content that you need to do, right? So you need to know what all things I can include, what all things I can exclude, so how I can improve it. Okay. Also, whenever you're working on your elevator speech, work on your voice modulation. If I'm saying I'm Shivalika and this is what I do, this is what was I was doing in my previous company. No, you have to sound very, very natural. Give modulations. Hi, how are you? My name is Shivalika, and I was this and this in my previous organization. My this was what I my role was all about. So what you are doing? You are trying to give out a very natural sounding elevator pitch. Okay, clear? So this is where we need to understand that elevator pitch is very, very important in in making people say interested in what we are speaking. Okay, so make sure that whenever you work, you have to go out and talk about yourself. Work on the pointers that we have discussed today. These are some things which will help you to create a very interesting environment with around yourself. Okay, so try, because it is again a personal branding tool, very, very important, which is going to be used in either interview process or maybe in your networking event or wherever you're trying to meet anyone, right? You might meet someone in the elevator, or maybe you might meet in the lobby, or maybe you'll meet someone during the meeting, right? So you need to be that elevator speech should always be ready with you, and keep on updating it, right? It is very, very important that we keep on updating, because there might be some new projects that you have done which must have given you better results. So talk about that. Okay, clear for everyone now? Any doubts? We are open for the doubts.